All right, this one's going to be more of a fun video, not totally Padres related or anything about the Padres currently, but I did see this tweet come out the other day, or I saw it today actually. Who's on the Mount Rushmore of athletes that played in San Diego? And these are my four, as you can see here: Tony Gwynn, Trevor Hoffman, Kawhi Leonard, and Alex Morgan. This definitely, and it's only been a couple of hours that this tweet has been up, it's gotten some replies that definitely disagree with me and think that I'm crazy with this list. But this is the good thing, the thing that I love about these Mount Rushmores, and especially when it comes to like San Diego, a city, born and raised, and I love this city so much, is that there's passionate fans all over the place and they will have different perspectives, different opinions, and you can have your Mount Rushmore. I have mine, and ours is 100% correct, and yours is totally wrong. Like, it's just passion, right? I love that. So I will explain why I have these four. And there's also some honorable mentions. And I would love for those that are watching this to put your four in the comments. If you disagree with mine, you can say why. You can make a case for your four if they are different from mine, or if you agree with mine, then great. If not, then okay. I love seeing the different opinions as long as it is respectful, right? And so before I get into these four, the honorable mentions I have: Philip Rivers, Antonio Gates, LaDainian Tomlinson, Junior Seau, Marshall Falk, Steven Strasburg, Phil Mickelson, Bill Walton, don't forget about him, Landon Donovan, and Naomi Girma. And for those guys and girls, getting into them, Philip, obviously, longtime Charger quarterback and could be in the Hall of Fame one day. Antonio Gates, one of the best tight ends ever. LT, one of the best running backs ever. Junior Seau, I mean, just a legend. Marshall Falk, NFL, college football, Hall of Famer as well. Steven Strasburg, number one pick out of San Diego State. The stuff that he did at San Diego State and put San Diego State baseball on the map, really. Not by himself, definitely not by himself. There were guys before him, but there was just a lot of attention on him and the university at that time, with Tony Gwynn as the head coach, obviously. Um, it was just different there. And then obviously what he did with the Nats and wins the World Series and his MLB debut and how hyped up that was. Phil Mickelson, golfer, obviously, with the majors that he has won. Bill Walton went to my high school, Helix High School, played for the San Diego Clippers, and obviously had Hall of Fame career there. Not with the Clippers, I should say, but in the NBA. And obviously what he did at UCLA. Landon Donovan I put on there because what people, I think, struggled with here is the reading comprehension. What this tweet said was Mount Rushmore of athletes that played in San Diego, not necessarily like the San Diego sports Mount Rushmore, meaning like how I interpret that would have been, okay, the best athletes, and you only really consider what they did for that San Diego team. That's different than what this was. Mount Rushmore of athletes that played in San Diego. That doesn't mean that, that's how I took it. It doesn't mean that we have to judge them all on what they did only in San Diego, and that's how you make it all. And I wanted my Mount Rushmore to be well-rounded, to have different sports. Now, you say that, and then you'll be like, well, Ben, where's the football? I get that. And maybe it's emotionally like I didn't want to include a Charger. But to me, like, this is my list. These are the first four that I thought of. And so I'll explain that here in a little bit. Obviously, Naomi Girma, that's someone that I mentioned as well. To me, she's the best defender in the world. And yes, it was a short time playing for San Diego Wave, but she played in San Diego, won Challenge Cup in 2024, won the league in 2023, helped them reach the playoffs in their first 2 years, won a playoff match. And I'm saying the same things about Nay that I'm saying that I could say now about Alex when I go on to explain that. Rookie of the year, defender of the year, best 11, like did all this stuff while playing in San Diego for San Diego Wave. So I have to throw her in there. I didn't mention Tony Hawk, Shaun White on social media, but I'm just not that knowledgeable about snowboarding and skateboarding. So, but those people that did mention them, yes, you can do that. Go ahead. I did not mention Reggie Bush. Alex Smith, they both went to Helix, and they obviously played high school football here. I don't know. To me, could I have? Yeah, but like the total, maybe it's the totality, however I should say that, totality of Reggie Bush in comparison to someone like Marshall Faulk. Maybe that's why I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Um, Alex Smith to Phillip Rivers, maybe that's why I'm not doing that. I guess I could say Drew Brees because he did play in San Diego. I think he lives in San Diego now too. So that's, I guess, an honorable mention as well. But again, this is my list, and am I biased in this list? Like maybe some are with like the background because I didn't grow up watching Junior Seau. I didn't grow up, at least I don't remember watching LaDainian Tomlinson. You know, so maybe yeah, I am a little bit biased there, and some will be biased towards those older players that and they grew up watching those older players. But for me, Tony and Trevor, I don't have to discuss. Obviously, Hall of Famers, one of the best hitters of all time, one of the best relievers of all time. And you can make the case that he is the best closer of all time in Trevor Hoffman if you want to compare, like, well, look how many opportunities Mariano Rivera had and the teams that he had and the teams that Trevor did not have, you know? But those guys, amazing. I don't have to defend that. Kawhi and Alex are the two that social media and maybe some of you would like me to defend. Um, and I think I see a lot of people on social media. They're like, it should be Junior Seau and LaDainian Tomlinson. And again, if it's based on what they did in San Diego, then okay, yeah. Because like Kawhi Leonard, he didn't win a national championship for San Diego State. Alex, they did win in 2023. They didn't win the NWSL championship, but they won the Shield. And in soccer, especially in Europe, like what matters the most, it's did you win? You win your league by being the best team across the regular season. There's no playoffs. Um, so if it was that for NWSL, Wave win the league in 2023. She had the Golden Boot, by the way, in 2022, most goals in the league. So I'll get to her in a little bit. With Kawhi, for me, he's going to be a Hall of Famer. And he takes a lot of pride being in San Diego. I think he still lives in San Diego. Takes a lot of pride with San Diego State, and he's at Padres games. I'm not saying this is why I'm putting him in, but it plays into a little bit probably of my bias of why I have Kawhi there. But and Kawhi with San Diego State, helping put San Diego State on the map basketball wise with the Sweet 16 appearances, right? And losing to what they lost to Kemba and UConn, right? But some really good teams that Kawhi was on there. And then again, it's not only what they did in San Diego, what he has done after being in San Diego or at San Diego State, winning championships with San Antonio, Finals MVP, and then winning in Toronto. Like, it's not like he was on this super team in Toronto. That's an incredible feat. Yes, have injuries gotten to him, and maybe that's part of the reason why he shouldn't be on my Mount Rushmore. If you want to make that case, okay. But you know, going back to like the well-rounded of this, I wanted it to be now. I as well-rounded as I could because I can't. If I wanted to be well-rounded totally, then I needed like Junior Seau or someone on this list, right? On these of the four, but I can't take. Like, it's literally impossible for me to not have Trevor on this or not have Tony on this. Like, that's not happening. Ted Williams is another honorable mention that I totally forgot to put on Twitter. So that is totally my bad. I apologize, and I'm going to do that when this video is over because I just thought of that right now. Not just thought of him, but I just mentally did not put that on social media. So that is my bad. But I wasn't going to put Ted on there because then that's a third baseball player, and yes, from San Diego, but he didn't accomplish what these people accomplished and what others on that honorable mention list did while in San Diego. These four have accomplished things playing for a San Diego team as well. And so yeah, with Alex, I know that a lot of people know her from the U.S. Women's National Team, and she's one of the best women's soccer players of all time. Um, the Caitlin Clark, the Taylor Swift of women's soccer, if that's how you want to put it. If I'm trying to relate to some people here, um, I think that's a fine way of putting it. And so her impact, and she still has the Alex Morgan Foundation here in San Diego. And again, she accomplished great things for San Diego, helped set attendance records and a lot of attention to San Diego for playing for San Diego Wave and wanting to settle down in San Diego with her family. And she's going to be in San Diego, it seems like, for the remainder of her life. Like this is where she wants to be. So love that. But her coming with Abby Dahlkemper as the first two additions, and then winning the league in 2023, the NWSL Shield, postseason appearances in the first 2 years of an expansion team, which hadn't been done before. So that's history there. 2022, I was at this game at Snapdragon, scores the game-winning goal against Mal Swanson, or Mal Pugh at the time, and Chicago, Alyssa Nair as well, gets the game-winning goal there for the first playoff win in that the club's history. 2023, they make the playoffs. And then what she has done, also, again, going back to this tweet, Mount Rushmore of athletes that played in San Diego. So Alex played in San Diego, but I think in the context of this tweet, I can take into account the other things that she has done, which is like everything. Gold medalist, 2012, multiple World Cup titles. Again, she's just one of the greatest, probably, female athletes, I would say. Yeah, for sure. One of the greatest female athletes of all time. And so I wanted while some people would want their Mount Rushmore to simply be best four, doesn't matter if it's one sport, two sports, whatever. I wanted my Mount Rushmore to be as well-rounded as I could. But again, I had to have Tony and Trevor on there. I couldn't, not have those guys on there. That would just be stupid. So for me, all right, those two, now it's up to two. I'm choosing 3 sports for 2 spots. And with Alex's impact, having it be a female on there, I'm going to have her on there. And then for me, it probably would come down to Kawhi or Seau or LT or Rivers. And maybe I think part of it's probably the bias of the Chargers and them not being here anymore. But Kawhi, he was one of the guys that put San Diego State on the map as well in basketball. And look what has happened since Kawhi came to San Diego State. And the recruits that they've been able to recruit and the constant success of San Diego State. So that's what I chose. Kawhi, obviously, with the career that he's had after San Diego State as well and the honors there. And I know there's been injuries, but I think for me, I'm going to put him up there. And again, I'm younger than probably a lot of people watching this. So you probably will be biased towards maybe Junior Seau, maybe some older players that you watched growing up or that you were watching when you were in your 20s or 30s. I did not watch those players. So I have a little bit of a different viewpoint on that. But yeah, so that's what I've got. Tony, Trevor, obviously, Kawhi, and then Alex with what she's done in her career. And it's not just the on-field either, but what she's done in San Diego, what she's doing with her foundation, and then the fight for equal pay that she helped lead with the women's national team and being making the same amount as the U.S. men's national team. And the CBAs that they've gotten done in the NWSL, like, I look at that as well. So that's what I've got there. Let me know your thoughts, San Diego Mount Rushmore. If you had Tony, Trevor, Seau, and LT, or Tony, Trevor, Ted Williams, you could say, well, because he's one of the best hitters of all time and he's from San Diego. Okay. But like, if you want to say Tony, Trevor, Marshall Falk, and Seau or LT, I got that too. If you want to put Antonio Gates on there, or like, there's a lot of names on here that I am like, yep, you can make a strong case for that. And maybe you're right, but that's your list. This is my list, with emotional ties to some of these athletes. And so, yeah, we can all have our own list. And I think it's a fun discussion to have, creates back and forth. And again, as long as you're like respectful with it, then I love the back and forth.